happens when a lifelong geocacher, business owner, and community builder finally step behind the mic? Well, I'm Lookout Lisa, and in this episode, you'll get the inside scoop on who I am, how Cache Advance started over a bowl of fun noodles, and why I'm passionate about amplifying women's voices in geocaching. Welcome to Cache Like a Girl, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible stories of women geocachers. I'm Lookout Lisa, founder of Cache Advance and the Cache Crate, and a passionate geocacher since 2002. In each episode, you'll find inspiration to fuel your geocaching adventures. Let's cache like a girl and make our mark on the map. Well, hey, welcome everybody. I am Lisa, Lookout Lisa from Cache Advance, and I invited my good friend Craig, SeeMyShell, to join me on our podcast today and learn a little bit about me this time. I'd like for you to learn, you probably have some questions about who Lookout Lisa is and about my background and my business and such. So I thought I would have SeeMyShell come on and interview me. So Craig, welcome.
G'day, Lisa. Well, thank you very much for asking me about this. I do have one question straight off the bat, and that is, this is caching like about girls and going caching like a girl. I mean, I have cached with a lot of girls and women in my past, so I know a little bit about it, but why me, Lisa? Why me?
That's a great question. Well,
Yeah.
we have known each other for a long time, and I know a lot about, we've even worked together on some different
hmm
video and audio projects for sure. And
hmm
honestly, you're fun to talk to, for one thing. And for
Thank you
another,
so much.
absolutely. And you have a completely different voice than I do. You're a guy, I'm a gal. I have a Pacific Northwest American accent,
hmm
and you have a different accent.
A very, very southern accent, mine. Extremely southern, I'll say that. So there you go. Oh, that's great, Lisa. Thank you again, as I said before, about inviting me on this this introductory of your very new podcast. I'm a fan of podcasts, as you know. I've got several podcasts myself, and yours is Caching Like a Girl. Now, tell me first off, straight off the bat, how did you come up with the idea of caching like a girl? Apart from the fact that you are a cacher and you're a girl, how did you come up with wanting to talk about it, though?
Right. Well, I've always, in the back of my mind, have wanted to do a podcast. I've been a guest speaker for probably 15 years off and on different podcasts. And it's been kind of a passion project of mine to have my own podcast finally. And I've been realizing that the vast majority of podcasters are guys. And and it's rare that there's a few of us out there that are the gals, the ladies, the girls that are podcasting. And
Mm-hmm.
so but I also wanted to hear their stories too. I've met a lot of people over the years of my geocaching and events and such, and I love that diving into the backstory of the different geocachers. And so one of
hmm
the main reasons is to give voice to women geocachers and to hear their stories. So I wanted to have something just a little bit different than what's already out there.
That's a great idea. And I know personally there are a lot of people out there, females out there that yeah, they do need a bit more of a voice. I'll say that, especially on the airwaves, because yeah, unfortunately, I will say it is very male heavy, the podcasting, especially geocaching podcasting as well. So if I was, Lisa, if I was a lovely lady, like there are so many of them out there in the wild at the moment, and I wanted to be on your podcast. I want to be on your show. How can I sort of get on your show? How do I contact you for that?
Well, that's a great idea, or great question there. Yeah, so we have a website. It's cashlikeagirl.com would be the main place to go. And we'll have a place where you can contact us through there and let us know we'd like us to interview. Whose stories do we need
Mhm.
to know? And do you have some stories that you would like to share and come on to the podcast? And I've got some allies, some guy allies as well that I know will be on the show down the road. So really, we're
Mhm.
open to everybody. But my main
Yeah.
reason was just to give more voice to women geocachers and to hear their stories.
I love that idea. I do love that idea. And as you said before as well, you and I, we've been mates for quite some time now. As since 2018 was the first time I was in the US and met you in person at your old store from Cash Advance,
Yeah.
and and that's how I knew you was from Cash Advance as well. So tell us a bit more about Cash Advance and the Cash Crate because you've been doing those for quite some time too. And then you're diverting into the podcasting realm or social media realm, more like it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Tell us about Cash Crate and Cash Advance.
Sure. Well, back in 2005 is when I actually started my business, Cash Advance. And it was October. And I had this idea for my first product, which was Dr. B's Cash Repair Kit. And I thought, well, I guess I should roll the story back a little bit. Even before I had the idea of a product, I'd finished school and had extra free time. I was only, you know, working full time, like going to school and working full time. And I wanted
Yeah.
to start, do something different with my time. But I was afraid it would cut into my geocaching time. I was thinking about maybe
Mhm.
going for a part-time job or something, a little bit of a student loan I needed to pay back. And I was having lunch and talking about this with a friend of mine. And she said, well, Lisa, why don't you start a business around geocaching? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, why don't I? Yeah, at that time, 2005, there wasn't much out there.
No.
There was no products, hardly any products that you could purchase. Basically, we were raiding our junk drawers and our old Tupperware. It, to buy, the dollar stores and to put stuff together to go geocache.
Mhm.
And the idea just hit me right there over pho noodles, to come up with the Dr. B's Cash Repair Kit. And so that's what I did. I put it on eBay,
Fantastic.
sold out immediately.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, again, Lisa, I would always say this as well. You are one of the leading, in my mind, and my as a friend as well, like a leading female entrepreneur. You do these sort of things all the time. You started off with the as you said the cash repair kit. It's now got into a big store, which has now got into the cash crate as well.
Mhm.
So is the cash crate that's the monthly subscription box, isn't it? Really, the cash crate. Is there a limit on how many can be sold every month? Because you do very busy, like just weekly, if not monthly, sitting there doing all the boxes together. So, do you have a limit on how many people can order?
Yeah, we do. I'd have to
Mm.
plan months in advance
Mhm.
as to bringing products in. And when you're sourcing, 300, 600, 800 pieces to put it into the boxes, I need to know exactly how many I'm going to order. And
Mhm.
so, and I can't over order. Otherwise, I can't send a box to somebody that
Yeah.
has joined the cash crate. So,
Mhm.
hold on. Cash crate.
There you go.
Got on handy right here. And it's jumpy. But, so yes, we do need to have numbers to know how many. So there are
Mhm.
cutoffs, and sometimes we're just closed, and
Yeah.
it's a wait list. So
Mhm.
people need to get onto the wait list in order to get an email as soon as we have an opening, or even a text message. We do
Yeah.
text as well sometimes.
That's perfect. Now you did have, correct me if I'm wrong, because I see, I'm pretty much a nomad, permanent nomad, and so I don't have the cash crate, I don't have that sort of stuff. But you had add-ons for the trackable add-ons. Do you still have the trackable add-ons as well?
I do. Yeah, we actually have
Oh,
six
that's cool.
different subscriptions.
Oh,
It's a
there
little
you go. I thought there was.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we
Yep.
started with the cash trade. That's our
Mhm.
flagship monthly
The box.
subscription. That's what the vast majority of our members get. We have
Mhm.
a trackable add-on that can
Mhm.
go into the cash crate. That would be, a coin or a tag, some sort
Mhm.
of trackable item. And but we know not everybody wants a lot of trackables every month.
Yeah.
So that's why we made it optional. And it's almost exactly 50% of my members get the
Oh.
add-on trackable. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And what about the tees as well, the geocaching tees, the T-shirts?
yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah, you're wearing one right now as we speak, so
I
here
have.
you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's a little tidbit. We're actually changing how our t-shirt subscription works.
Oh,
So
okay.
I started as a standalone, geocaching tees,
Mhm.
unisex shirts, and designs that guys or gals would like. And then we
Mhm.
combined it with the cache crate. So it's a combo crate. If people wanted to save on shipping, instead of getting 2 shipments, they could get
Yeah.
one put together and it costs a lot less that way. Um,
Perfect. See,
yep.
you and your ideas, I tell you now, like, it's so good, it's so good. Sorry, you were saying, there's more information about teas?
There,
Tell us more.
there is a little bit more, and it really is related to the Cash Like a Girl podcast. Uh,
Mhm.
we started the T-shirt club back in 2020,
Mhm.
during the pandemic, because most of us got our geocaching shirt at events. There weren't any
Mhm.
events; they were all shut down. So that's when we started that, and I've been doing it for 4 years now. I've kind of out of ideas. Um,
Oh, no.
Not exactly out of ideas, but
Yeah.
over 50 shirts and coming up with something that's enjoyable by both men and women. Um,
Yeah.
and I've been taking a look at my subscribers.
Mhm.
It's almost
Mhm.
90% women. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, for just the T-shirt club.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I'm going to niche down.
Mhm.
And so going forward, the T-shirt club is going to be designed for just for women geocachers.
Okay. Okay. There you go. You heard it here first, people.
Or
If you're a female geocacher out there, you want to know more, then get to it as well. You got Cache Crate or Cache Advance, sorry.com, or cashelikeagirl.com as well for the podcast. Obviously, you're going to have links in the show notes.
yes,
You're going to have links in the, if you're watching this on YouTube, you have links in the descriptions. Or even just Google search Cash Like a Girl and Lisa will come up. I can guarantee you'll be first on the ranks because there's no one else out there doing this, Lisa. So, yeah, well done.
well,
Well done.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, so that will be starting right pretty quickly, actually, this fall
Hmm.
2024. We'll be unfortunately asking the guys that are in the group, if they would like to slide over to one of our other subscriptions. Um,
Yep.
and all the gals, there's nothing they need to do. And the ones
Yep.
that are already subscribed will be coming in as charter members of the Cash Like a Girl T-shirt club.
Oh, that's really cool. I love it. I
Yep.
love it. Lisa, again, thank you so much for having me itself. Just before we go, though, is this, what do you think about geocaching in general in terms of like, where do you think geocaching is heading? As you said before, like, unbeknownst to me, t-shirts with the women more like the t-shirts and what the men do, that sort of thing. So again, that's a very off the cuff. I didn't even have any clue about. But give us your ideas in regards to geocaching as a whole. What's going to happen in the future?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been caching for a long time, since I started back in 2002.
Oh wow.
And been running my business since 2005. And I keep
Hmm.
track of, I try to do my best to keep track of how things are changing.
Hmm.
Because to be, say, in business so long, you have to pivot. You have to be able to be flexible and know your
Hmm.
audience. And, I know all my geocaching friends as well. So one of the things that I've really seen is definitely more women are geocaching.
Hmm.
20 years ago, it was maybe 30%. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact statistics. I should get those actually. Um, with my friends over at HQ. But it
Hmm.
was definitely a lot more guys that
Hmm.
were caching. And I've with the advent of the smartphone and apps, geocaching apps, I think that's evened out much more.
Hmm.
And it's accessible for everybody. Um,
Yeah.
and then we have the pandemic effect as well. Um, those of us that started caching before the pandemic and cashed through it,
Hmm.
we definitely have seen some changes in
Hmm.
how people geocache these days, and
Yeah.
how caching. You're probably finding a lot more micros. Used to,
Yeah. Yeah, this
yeah,
is true. This is true. This is true.
yeah.
And I find as well, Lisa, that nowadays, well, over the past since I started as well, I started back in 2014, so well after you. So I'm only junior member compared to someone like yourself. But 2014, and the reason why I started was because of my children. And I do believe that that's a possibility of other parents out there, male or female parents out there, would they want to do something, especially if they, divorce happens and that sort of thing as well, and their parents split up. One or the other is always going to try and start something to do with the kids. And I find that women take the lead a lot on that. And so it's a true and possibility statement by saying that, they do. And even if the family stays together, a lot of the times, I know when I was growing up as a kid, I did more things with my mum than what I did with my dad, for instance. You know what I mean? So that's a possibility as well. So yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's
Hmm.
the reason to dial all the way back to one of your first questions about why I started this podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, I've talked with a lot of women and just not geocachers, muggles,
Hmm.
um, you know,
Yeah.
friends, family, colleagues through the business world and such. And they're all like, I don't know how to get started caching. I don't feel safe as a woman to go
Mm,
out geocaching,
mm,
potentially, or how do I even start it with my kids? Um,
mhm.
and if I want to be able to share with those people how really easy it is, and
Yeah.
potentially ways that you're not feeling so safe. Other ways
Mhm.
to make it more safe, to go out geocaching
Yeah.
by yourself, to make friends, and get
Yes.
all your girlfriends and guy friends, and go out as a group together. So
Mhm.
that's another reason,
Yep.
is more to make it more accessible to those curious muggles, that
Yes.
want to get started with geocaching.
Yeah. And there you go, people. You probably heard it here as well, like I just did. If you listen carefully, I just heard two very, very important topics of possible topics or subjects coming up in future episodes of Cash Like a Girl. Number one would be safety, caching with safety. And number two is, caching with the community, like community caching. How can you do that as a single female, for instance, or a single mother, or even a mother as a family, that sort of thing too. So oh, Lisa, look at I'm just the idea of these things now after talking to you for like what 10, 15 minutes are popping into my head. And I am actually really looking forward to downloading your podcast, listening to your podcast as well. How can people, because as we said, this is just like an introduction of this podcast. So how can people listen? Can they watch? Where can they do that sort of thing of this particular podcast?
Yeah, so we're going to be all over, in your favorite podcast player. We've
Hmm.
already have been accepted into Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, and
Hmm.
Spotify, uh, iHeart, I can't even think of all of
Hmm.
them. And so, really, you can find us in any of your favorite
Yeah.
podcast players. Just type in "Cash Like a Girl," and
Hmm.
we should come up. And that's, of course, CACHE,
Yes, exactly,
Cash
exactly.
Like a Girl.
Cash like a girl. And I will say this as well, Lisa, and this is what I did with my podcast, and that is if you have a favorite podcast app that you use and you can't find Cash Like a Girl on it, then message Lisa and say to Lisa, I can't find your podcast on my particular app that I use. This is my app that I use. And Lisa, I'm sure you will turn around and go, okay, I'll get my podcast on that one too, no matter what you have to do for it. Predominantly, though, they do spread out amongst all the apps, which is awesome to hear. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I love it, Lisa. I love it. So, anything else that you want to sort of say before we wrap it up for the first introductory episode?
Yeah, wow. I can't really think of anything else specific. You've asked some really good questions. So,
Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
just
I'm going to
wanted
go
to,
deep for you. I'm going to go deep for you, and that is there are other podcasts out there, geocaching podcasts out there. What is going to be different then with this podcast opposed to all the others, apart from the obvious, and that is men versus not versus, but men compared to women, sort of thing. Because yeah, geocaching podcast, geocache talk, they're all men, all men, all men. So apart from that, what other things? I mean, I think personally already you're going to dive into different topics that are going to be more female specific. Anything else that's going to be different compared to the old podcasts out there?
um, but the main thing really is, again, giving voice to women geocachers. I'm
Mhm.
really looking forward to having conversations like we're having right now, but with
Mm,
other women that are how related to the geocaching world. I've received a lot
mhm.
of commitments already. I will be talking with Andy from Going Caching, um,
Oh, yes.
down in Rome, Georgia, but um,
Mhm.
for the event. So a little busy as I'm
Just a
ramping up
little.
getting my podcast together. And looking forward to talking with folks at HQ,
Mhm.
women, and
Yeah.
then possibly even some of my vendors, such as folks
Mhm.
that supply some of the gear that we put into the cache crates and such.
Mhm.
We're holding,
Yeah, that would be cool too.
yeah, yeah. So really, it's just again really focused on, like I said, giving voice to women geocachers
Mhm.
and to share their stories and promote geocaching.
Sounds cool. Sounds cool. And how often are you going to be publishing these episodes roughly on average? You said before we even started recording, you said, "Oh, I'm not going to be posting weekly, monthly. You're not going to have a schedule." How can people make sure they listen to you on a regular basis?
With that, you would want to subscribe,
Hmm.
whichever podcast player that you are using. Be sure to subscribe, and then you'll receive a notification um, as to
Hmm.
when new episodes drop. We're looking at this more as a series. So
Hmm.
we'll be having, batches slowly coming out, maybe 8 to 10 or so in a season.
Hmm.
And then I'm a little busy running a lot of things with my
You are.
business and, the e-commerce website, the
Hmm.
monthly subscription, the quarterly
Hmm.
subscriptions, all of that we have. Um, so, yeah, after doing 4 years of Mappy Hour, every Friday, and then we switched a year
Hmm.
ago to every other Friday. Um,
Hmm.
that's a big commitment, and I didn't wanna do that with this podcast. I wanted to keep it more light, more fresh, and just serve up the best podcast that I can, not just something to fill an hour every hour or once a week or so.
Yeah,
So
that's
stay
perfect.
tuned.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Remember, cash like a girl. You got to have an outro. Have you got an outro yet? Like cash like a girl outro?
Oh, yeah, I'll have to be working on that.
Yes. There
Something,
you go.
yeah, there will be something, yeah, added on to the end here for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. And yeah, I really look forward to subscribing and listening to every single one of your episodes as they come out. I watch it. I listen to it on Apple Podcasts. That's my favorite. Sometimes Spotify, but Spotify I use for music, but still. So yeah, thank you again for having me, and yeah, look forward to listening to you down the line.
Well, thank you so much, Craig. I really appreciate you asking such great questions and allowing me to share my story all about Cash Like a Girl podcast and how we got here. All right. Take care.
Thank you, Lisa.
Next time, we'll meet some of the incredible women shaping geocaching world from inside Geocaching HQ. But before that, take a moment and think about how you started geocaching or how you could. This podcast is here to remind you it's your story too, and we're just getting started.